third annual New Horizons Conference 2026. My name is Ron Koleski, and I'll be your MC and host for the event. And this year's conference is brought to you by 4S Consulting Services, Inc., in partnership with the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board of Ontario. So I'd really like to acknowledge Jeff Lang, who is the President and CEO of WSIB. Unfortunately, Mr. Lang is unable to attend, but we do have a very hearty contingent from the WSIB, Mr. Rod Cook, Vice President of Health and Safety Services, Julie Thurho, who is the Vice President as well from WSIB. Both will be presenting today, so thank you for coming. And of course, we have Sobi Raghunathan and the Vice President of Operations and Strategy for 4S Consulting, and Sebash Kananaratnam, who is the President and CEO of 4S Consulting Services. So this year's theme is really moving safety from outputs to outcomes. And we're going to feature some of Ontario and Canada's leading researchers and innovators in the field of occupational health and safety. This day will include 2 plenary sessions. The plenaries will be in this room in the morning, and that will be the introductory plenary, followed by a panel discussion followed by the break, and then another main plenary session in this room. During lunch, there will be an awards ceremony just prior to lunch. There will be lunch, and then there will be a luncheon speaker that we have on a very successful organization that is working in the Greater Toronto Hamilton area in the area of pain reduction and return to work strategies. And following lunch, you'll be released for the afternoon sessions. So there are 6 sessions, 3 before the afternoon break and 3 after. After the afternoon session, which will end about, we said 3:30, but probably more like 4. You come back here and we will do the closing, and then that is followed by the VIP. It is now time for the introductions, and I'd like to, we invited Mayor Frank Scarpitti, the Mayor of the City of Markham, to present. He has sent his video wishes, so we're going to tee that up.
Hello, I'm Mayor Frank Scarpitti from the City of Markham. Welcome to the New Horizons 2026 Safety Conference, and welcome to the City of Markham. We're proud to have such a large research-based health and safety conference in our city. Your choice of location reinforces Markham's commitment to supporting safe, healthy, and innovative workplaces. It's a fitting location for a city globally recognized for leadership in business and technology, and for strong collaboration between business, government, and community. The theme of this conference, Moving Health and Safety from Outputs to Outcomes, demonstrates that you can measure the impacts of safety practices and actively prevent illness and injury in the workplace. A theme definitely worth exploring. Workplace health and safety is about people first. Protecting your workers means protecting your business. One incident can harm lives and bring serious consequences. Last week, we all observed the National Day of Mourning, remembering lives lost and families forever impacted by workplace tragedies. We honor them through action by ensuring workplaces remain a place where every worker is valued, respected, and safe. We've made meaningful progress from stronger safety protocols to a culture of shared responsibility. But there's more to do. I'm very proud that the City of Markham, together with Markham Fire and Emergency Services and the Markham Professional Firefighters Association, has launched an on-site health screening initiative to support the long-term well-being of more than 300 firefighters. becoming the first municipality in the GTA to provide this service at no cost to them. I encourage business and employers to join the conversation, take workplace health and safety seriously, and continue investing in prevention and continuous improvement. This event reflects what's possible when people come together with care and commitment. Thank you to the sponsors and everyone who helped bring this conference to life. 4S Consulting Services and Principals Sobi Raghunathan and Subesh Kanagaratnam. The Workplace Safety and Insurance Board President and CEO, Mr. Jeff Lang, along with all the other government representatives, and of course, all the organizers and supporters. Thank you. Markham has a strong track record in workplace health and safety, but there's always room to do better. Take full advantage of this conference and leave with practical strategies you can put into action. A healthy, sustainable, productive workplace leads to a more resilient workforce. That's an outcome we all want. Again, congratulations to everyone on this very meaningful conference.
Thank you, Mayor Scarpitti. And the City of Markham is also hosting the IndyCar race in this year as well. So just to let you know that. And I think I have ringside seats because it drives right by my house. I would like to now take this opportunity to introduce Logan Kanapathy, the MPP for Markham Thornhill, to say a few words and to introduce the minister following. As member of Provincial Parliament, Logan Kanapathy serves as MPP for Markham Thornhill and Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Red Tape Reduction. He is currently a member of the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs. He has proudly represented this community since 2018 and is now in his third term as member for Provincial Parliament. And this year marks MPP Kanapathy's 20th years of dedicated public service, including his time as a councillor in the City of Markham. So, MPP Kanapathy, thank you.
Thank you, Juan, for that kind introduction. Next time I'm going to take him to my election campaign. He knows my profile. Good morning, everyone. I'll give you a warm Markham welcome to all. And this is a great day to start the morning. You know, we had to go to the Queen's Park question period. I'm with the minister. And this is a wonderful to see so many people, so many known people, so many familiar faces coming to this wonderful summit. I'm so happy to join the New Horizon in Safety Summit 2026 taking place right here in Markham. I would like to thank the President for us consulting Subesh Kanagaratnam and his wife, the Vice President of Operation Sobi Raghunathan, for your leadership and friendship. And give you a round of applause for the wonderful families running the amazing organization, looking after the workers and safety and workplace, all the things at the workplace. So I also like to thank you, the Forest Consulting members and internal team, the staff, for your dedication for this organization and for the workers in this province. And also VPs of WSIB, thank you for being here. And also I'd like to shout out to Ontario Prevention Officer and Assistant Deputy Minister, Dr. Joe Modi. Thank you for being here. And all the sponsors, you know, sponsors, without the sponsors, this event wouldn't be possible. And thank you to all the sponsors. 2026 New Horizon Conference is a great platform the Forest Consulting Services extended. It is commitment to helping businesses across Ontario to improve the workplace safety through training, prevention, strategy, and evidence-based practices. I'm especially excited to see how innovation is growing, especially with the development of AI-enabled tools that directly reduce safety regulation. As a parliamentary assistant to the red tape reduction, I'm happy to highlight that many of our reform deliver major benefits like digitalization approval, removing the duplication, and making process easier and faster for people and businesses. Ontario now has the lowest regulatory burden per capita in Canada. And we are cutting the red tape to make Ontario the most competitive place to do the business in the G7 nation. This year's theme for us, moving health safety from output to outcome. That success is not just making policies or report, it is about protecting life and preventing injuries. Workplace is safety, and health safety is very, very important, is vital. And also, they are mandating the workplace training in the many different languages. That would be amazing things to see. When businesses are supported with the right tools, training and facilities, workers go home safer and see the loved ones. That is something we can hold behind it. Here in my riding in Markham Thornhill, they have forest consultant is in my riding. I'm a little bit biased about that. We are proud to be recognized for the leadership in innovation and strong partnership between business, government, and community, all of which you can see today in this room. And thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the important man for me and for the labor workforce in Ontario, someone who is deeply committed to protecting workers and strengthening workforce Ontario. I don't know what tablets he take every day. He's a vibrant, dynamic, the Minister for the Skill Development and Job Creation. My colleague and my good friend, the Honorable Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skill Development, and the MPP for Northumberland, Peterborough South, David Piccini. We launched the largest skill development program in the Ontario history. We are not talking partition here, it's a fact. I like to say the fact. I'm a less partition guy because Van was introducing me, I came from the municipal world. This program is Ontario history, connecting young people. We have to give them a hope. Young people are facing a lot of challenges, economic and social challenges, and also we had to create so much of employment in this beautiful province. Minister Piccini and our government continue to support safe workplace, sustainable economic growth across the Ontario. Please join me in welcoming my good friend, Minister David Piccini.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Logan, for that kind introduction. Speaking of kind introductions, I should have had you at my wedding, so that was really nice. I appreciate the opportunity to join all of you here this morning. What a packed room, and appreciate everybody's common commitment to health and safety. It's a pleasure to be here at the New Horizons Safety Conference, a forum that looks not just at where we are today, of course, but where health and safety must go over the next 10, 15, 20 years to ensure all workers remain safe on the job site. I first want to thank and have to say, Sobi and Sabesh, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for bringing everyone here together, but more than that, for your commitment to driving a productive workforce, but recognizing that that's predicated on health and safety, and your commitment to research. Thank you. Thank you all. Of course, our partners from the WSIB, Rodney, thank you for being here as well. I had a great time with the team just outside at their booth. Ron, our former Chief Prevention Officer. Ron, thank you for your leadership and for your commitment. You've been a real mentor, so thank you. Of course, Dr. Moody, our current Chief Prevention Officer. Dr. Moody, thank you for being here. Jules Ansta-Gray, our ADM, who is here today as well. You'll hear from Jules later on. My colleague, Logan Kanapathy. Logan and I appreciate he talked a lot about youth, because I don't think we have a better champion for youth at Queen's Park than Logan, who's always constantly talking to me about different opportunities to ensure young people are well trained and on the job site. He's attracted incredible investment into this community and been a real leader in making sure those young people are safe and well trained. So Logan, thank you for your leadership. You have no better advocate than Logan here. We also have some of our HSAs here, particularly Jody Young. Jody, thank you for being here as well. Conferences like this matter because safety isn't static, and prevention must evolve alongside it. And it evolves with technology. It evolves, with workforce needs, with the economy, and with the risks workers face on the job every day. And I want to start by just grounding us in what I believe is a very simple truth, that our economy and our infrastructure depend on our workforce, and that relies on maintaining and improving safety on job sites to meet today's modern realities. Whether it's construction, whether it's mining, manufacturing, energy, healthcare, or transportation, nothing functions unless workers are well trained and supported on the job site. And it matters now more than ever because we are nation building, and we have a commitment in Ontario to set our sights on imagining big things. Who would have thought we'd be contemplating new nuclear for the first time in 50 years? The world's first small modular reactors will be built here by Canadian workers. I'm really proud of that. Just down the highway. Or in the north, miners. I was just down at the Coleman site a couple weeks ago and saw the incredible work being done by workers at the Valet site there, but their commitment to working hand in hand with USW on health and safety, the union representing the workers there. But from new nuclear to public transit, the largest public transit in North America being done right here in our province, right here in this city. We are dreaming of big things, and we don't need President Trump's approval to mine critical minerals, to make sure our energy can get out to market, to make sure we're an energy superpower. We're going to do it, but it's predicated on making sure that those work sites are safe. And when workers are trained and protected and supported, the results speak for themselves. Ontario has maintained the lowest lost injury time rate in Canada for more than a decade. And over the past 5 years alone, injury rates have declined by over 13.5%. So that's because of you. That's not me. So I'm going to give you a round of applause. Thank you for doing all of that. And it doesn't happen by accident, as I said. It happens because of the partnership of workers, of employers, trainers, and government. Skilled trades training, for example, is a cornerstone of that success. In the next decade, we know we're going to need over 400,000 workers due to job growth, retirements, and to deliver on those nation-building projects I mentioned. And that's why we're building a modern world-class system. We've seen through various programs the commitment the government's made to training. Since 2021, through programs like our Skills Development Fund, we've invested $1.5 billion to training and capital streams. It's supported more than 1,000 training projects across Ontario, and it's expanding hands-on training. And I just want to tell you a little anecdote, a little story. We just recently had a constituency week, and that's a chance for MPPs. When they say they're off on break, we're actually doing the most important work we do in our constituency with the people who elect us. And I was on a job site. We were treating the exterior of a facade of a building as a training space for brick and stonemasons. And we were there, and I met a young group of apprentices. Clifford Restoration is the partner. They do some of the big work on Casaloma, on the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. And I met this young woman, and she had benefited from our Skills Development Fund, which also supported health and safety training. And she was working 2 jobs. Her name's Pam, real story, from Oshawa, came in, was working the night shift, had a few hours sleep when she would get home just to come up and get trained during the day on this job site. Pam's now working at Casaloma because she was trained in health and safety training. She had the experience through this fund to land her a better job with a bigger paycheck. She doubled her salary and is now working on site at Casaloma with Clifford Restoration. So that's the power when we, as Logan said in the introduction, when we can invest in training, when we make sure we're supporting a well-trained workforce, investing in youth, making sure they have access to health and safety training, to work safely on the job site, there's no stopping our potential. And it was so nice to see her. And I'll take over, I shouldn't say this because we still want the big hospital announcements, but multi-million-dollar announcements are great, but stories like that really remind us why we all do the work that we do. Through the capital stream, we're supporting upgrading training facilities in every corner of this province. And why do I mention that to you? Just to underscore the importance this government puts on training in every corner of our province. We know that investing in training matters, and we're seeing upgrades from colleges, universities, to investing in shop classes in high schools. I was in Thunder Bay the other day and saw investment tool and die machines to support our manufacturing sector, or mold making in classes. I was told by our own manufacturing association and by others around Ontario, you cannot have a successful manufacturing sector without mold making. And so we're supporting training in every corner of Ontario, but to do it safely, to make sure training leads to real reductions in risk, that's non-negotiable. And that's why since 2021, we've also introduced a number of Working for Workers bills. More than J.K. Rowling introduces Harry Potter's, I think we're right about there. But we've mandated defibrillators and naloxone kits on work sites because in cases of cardiac events or overdoses, seconds can save lives. And what I'm most proud of that is not that we introduce these on job sites, but the training that has occurred because of it. Thousands of people who will be trained on defibrillators. The young gentleman from GFL, I think his name was Mike, who was at the announcement where he said he was experiencing chest pains, walk across the street, collapsed in the middle of the street, and there happened to be a paramedic driving by. And when he woke up, he had a defibrillator on his chest. And his dad died from a heart attack, and he said, that was my dad looking down on me to protect me. But it shouldn't take happenstance experiences like that, acts of God. It should take well-trained and safe job sites. And that's why mandating defibrillators are so important. But the fact that we're going to make sure people are well-trained so that that worker now, Mike, who's now well-trained on a defibrillator, maybe taking kids to hockey, and we know they're in arenas, and will now be trained on how to properly use them. And again, that's the same with naloxone kits. And so I'm really proud of the training that this province has led. We were the first province to do this in Canada, and I've already had ministers reaching out to ask how we did it, to implement it in their own provinces around this country. Ensuring all workers have properly fitting PPE, personal protective equipment. I've said this before, I'll say it again. This is common sense. But common sense isn't all too common, especially with politicians. So I think it's so important that we do that, and we've mandated that, and we've seen incredible uptake as a result, seeing new providers in ensuring PPE for all body types, breaking down barriers, and what has cumulatively that been? Better training, better access to training, better access to health and safety, and ensuring our regulations are reflective of today's reality as well. We have more women registered for skilled trades than at any point in this province's history. Any point in our history. And that's what happens when we work together. We're also cracking down on bad actors to ensure workplace safety by implementing the highest penalties in the country to enforce compliance throughout Ontario. And while I'm at that, we're bringing on new inspectors and training them and working educationally, education first with employers. I'm a big believer in taking that approach, that we're not here to be punitive on sites, but to educate. And obviously you have to have tough penalties if there's repeated noncompliance. However, we've been working with the incredible team at our ministry and our inspectors, the internal responsibility system on job sites. This underpins healthy and safe construction sites, for example, and making sure we're working. The manual that was, I know we talked about this, the manual that was so big it was required on a USB stick, we're simplifying, working with all of you in the sector to make sure that it's reflective of today's modern day realities. And that's sort of our commitment as a government and as a ministry, to make sure that we're working with you collaboratively. And we're continuing that work through new proposed legislation in the Power Act, mandating CSA-approved respirators. And that matters again. Some of the biggest tunneling, Ontario line, I spoke to you. I heard from labor partners complaining that on a particular element of a site, the employer was actually switching the respirator, asking them to use one that they knew, thanks to their own health and safety team, was less effective. By actually elevating to high standards across Canada, we can ensure we better protect workers. And so that's an example with the CSA respirator of ensuring we keep that high standards and empower workers with knowing that they're using equipment that will keep them safe. Type 2 hard hats on sites, just to name a few measures. But what I'm most proud of is the leadership role Ontario's played in leading health and safety harmonization across Canada. And we just came back from a meeting of ministers of labor. Normally, these things you're arguing over a verb or a noun in the news release, and they're kind of pithy and nebulous, and what do they actually say? We met, we agreed to have a long-term strategy for something, but what we actually did this time was we specifically zeroed in on an action plan. And I'm really proud of that your elected politicians came together not just to meet for the sake of meeting, but we met, zeroed in on an action plan, and we've adopted some real targets to adopt to Ontario's plan to harmonize to working at heights, trenching and shoring, mobile elevated work platforms. These are some of the things we now have an action plan across Canada to harmonize to the highest standards, to make sure rising tides lift all boats. So really proud of the work we're doing, and we're going to depend on you to guide us, to make sure we're avoiding duplication. And when we harmonize to high standards, we can do that. Make sure we're not tripping over ourselves and duplicating work when workers move on those nation-building projects I mentioned earlier. Speaking of that, just a few other things I wanted to mention. Ontario's Mine Rescue Centre. We just are on the heels of that announcement, a new mine rescue centre in Sudbury to protect miners. And what's so exciting, and what miners told me, was that so often mining and progressive steps we've taken for health and safety in that sector have been a result of tragedies. Well, this new mine rescue training institute in Sudbury, funded through an $125 million investment from the WSIB, I mean, this is really incredible. Canada will now be a world leader, and we're not doing it because of a disaster. We're doing it to be proactive, to ensure we're embodying the principles of prevention. And I'm really proud of the investment that WSIB has made to do that, because it's really exciting. It's exciting that we're going to have a state-of-the-art facility. Of course, our occupational exposure registry, I'm sure many of you have seen, we're the first in Canada to announce that. It's a really exciting tool, and I hope after I'm done to speak with many of you about how we can ensure that exposure registry is effective going forward. It's protecting workers' long-term health. That secure digital tool will allow workers to voluntarily record and track exposures to hazardous substances throughout their careers. And why does this matter? I was in Sudbury the other day, and I sat around the table, and the toughest part of my job, sitting at that table, was when loved ones put a picture, when widows put a picture of their loved one who died because of an exposure. Imagine sitting at a table, and that's the first thing they do. They put that so that I could see the person that they lost. And it's not just another person or another number. It's a mother, it's a father who didn't come home at the end of the day, or who got a cancer diagnosis that irreparably shaped the rest of their life, or subsequently lost their life because of it. So I look forward to working with all of you to make sure that registry is world-class, and to make sure we can document clusters and we can better act to protect workers across our country, which leads me in closing to why you're here today, asking an important question. Are our training and compliance efforts actually reducing risk? Because real safety progress isn't measured by checklists or paperwork. It's measured by fewer injuries, a healthier workforce, and safer outcomes on the job. And I look forward to working with you to continue investment in research and innovation. Our mobile research labs, you're going to hear later today, developed with the Canadian Institute for Safety, Wellness, and Performance. Dr. Yazdani, who's here today, these labs are taking cutting-edge science directly to work sites, collecting real-world data on how work is performed. And that evidence will help better reflect a PPE design, strengthen training, and refine prevention strategies. And this is just a small example of the multiple strategies of this government is deploying, and what we can do to reduce the risks and improve safety on job sites. As we move forward, and as we ensure that the tools we're creating create real opportunities, better hazard detection, better predictive insights, more effective training, and faster responses when incidents recur. It must be implemented through thoughtfully, ethically, and with a clear understanding of its impact on workers and on safety culture. I know another focus of today is health and safety harmonization, which I spoke to you about, and we're proud to be working collaboratively across Canada. But in closing, I would say that what we do as public policy makers doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's because of working with all of you. It's because of the work you do to challenge us, to bring innovative designs like the lab, like the idea of an exposure registry that we can empower workers to document exposures using things like a cell phone. I was surprised I was able to FaceTime my wife at the bottom of a mine the other day. This is how technology is advancing. And we have to make sure that the tools we employ to protect workers advance with it. And that's where we can come in. And so your commitment, common commitment to research, to excellence, to making sure that we're working collaboratively will ensure Canada is a world leader. Because to tie it back to what I started with, and I've reflected on this before, when my grandfather immigrated here from Italy, he saw a country he could have an active stake in building. Today, we're really at that precipice again, where we're talking about nation building, and global external realities that we don't have control over are showing that when we come together as a nation, there's really no stopping the things we can do as Canadians. But to do it, you've got to make sure you're doing it safely. And I'm proud that we have these discussions, that we have that tension with public policymakers, because I'd put our workforce up against any worldwide, because we have that commitment to make sure workers go home safely at the end of the day. We have that commitment to consulting with Indigenous partners, and we have that commitment to environmental responsibility. But we do that with all of you in a productive way to make sure that workers are safe. So thank you for your commitment to driving workforce productivity, to driving workforce safety. We're grateful for it, and I know on behalf of Premier Ford and our entire government, thank you for challenging us to be the best public policy makers we can